when I can start the program.
It's almost like the intro to.
Yeah, let me know.
It's almost like the intro
solo,
to.
man. Let him know when you
It
come
was
solo.
the 3rd of September. It's like a 5-minute intro before they start singing.
It's the Sonny Emery. I think he's the current drummer for Earth, Wind, and Fire now.
Really?
Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Keith, for saying good morning to me, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. That's why me and you get along so
This
well,
dude
man.
right here.
I'm just saying, man, I got feelings too.
Change his name to Precious.
Buttercups.
All right, Peaches. We got you.
Delicious.
It's terrible, man.
I'm just saying, man, I need love too.
I only got a few minutes, and I know if I throw this out, it might spark phone calls. But
Oh boy, here you go.
I guess the question is: Are men more sensitive than women?
Well,
Because I heard Richard talk about how women are just better at golfing in terms of learning than men are. But I'm just wondering, are men more sensitive than women?
I think they are. They just hide it.
They being men,
Yeah. I think men are.
we hide it.
Yeah, they hide it a lot. Like for instance, I was just having this conversation with Shell. I was in the gas station and I just got my locks redone, and the young lady walked in with her guy. She looked at my locks. Said, "Oh, your locks are nice." Then turned and looked at her boyfriend and said, "Hey, you should get your locks, like his." He go off. Like he go off on her. Like, "Oh, don't be complimenting no other man in front of me and this and this and this and this and that." And so after a while, I kind of turned around and I was like, "Brother, she wasn't trying to holler at me or anything like that. She just said it was nice." So he kind of, he kind of japped off at me a little bit. So the old me was getting ready to come out, but then I had talked to myself and was like, "Nah, man, just just, put water on the situation." So I was like, "Hey, brother, hey, man, you have a good one, man," and walked out.
Debo,
Yes, sir.
he's so pretty.
That is so pretty tough. This dude, Keith, boy.
He breaking up relationships. He's
Yeah.
so pretty, man.
No,
Oh Lord,
I can't stand Keith. Shell, I need you back.
No, because this is your story, man.
Hey, but it's the truth.
So who gonna play you?
It's always a woman,
Who gonna
man.
play you?
Denzel Washington.
You got now.
I'm just saying,
Denzel is not even aged out of playing. You got to find somebody else,
man.
man. Who gonna play you?
Cat
Man.
Williams.
Michael B. Jordan, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. He's a hot actor right now. So you say
Yeah.
Michael B.
Yeah, Michael B. can play me, man. Now,
This dude.
I'm telling you the truth. It's
Broke
the honest
up
to God
weddings,
truth, man.
marriages.
I didn't break up the wedding, man. Don't y'all put that foolishness on
People can't even-
Michelle. Come on, help me. She here. She walked in. Who? Lakeith Stanfield. I don't know who that is. Lakeith Stanfield.
He was the guy. He did the running game and Get Out.
I gotta see his
That's the
picture.
dude that ran up.
Oh,
The
Yeah.
Harder They Fall. Did you see what's the religious movie? With the Book of Clarence.
Oh yeah, he starred in Book of Clarence. That's right.
But if you saw The Harder They Fall, did you see that?
No.
Idris Elba?
no.
Yeah.
What you-
He's in Get Out too.
I don't
Michelle,
really-
he
I don't
started
really
out
watch
with Keith
movies,
to my
man.
thank you for saying good morning to me.
Look at this snitch over here, man.
Did he?
Yes, he
No,
did.
Michelle, don't you believe the hype?
That's how the whole
Oh my
sensitivity.
God.
Michelle, don't you believe the hype?
Did he say that?
Michelle, you gonna believe it?
Oh,
So you know what? Hey, hold on,
But wait
He
a
said,
minute,
I got
Michelle,
feelings
Michelle,
too.
He's so pretty.
dude. This I
He
can't
go
stand
to a
Keith.
gas station. He just breaking them up. He breaking up relationships.
Weddings, gas station.
Hey, I'm just
He's
hey,
so pretty. Oh,
you know
so
what?
pretty.
Debo over there kicking up stuff while you over there looking like an armadillo with glasses on. You
That's
over there
fine.
kicking up stories, man. I didn't say that.
Yeah, you really are.
Jermaine, you do realize.
Keep saying, yeah, you did say
you are a little.
Come on, man.
There was a dude back in the day. He really was, and I say this as a dude. He was gorgeous. Calvin Lockhart.
Oh yeah.
Calvin Lockhart. Oh my God, that was a good-looking brother, man.
Fabio, though, he was like Fabio.
They had to just go. They had to do the nod, like
Yeah, man.
Like
I mean,
Fabio.
you know, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude was just Calvin Lockhart was, and I'm a dude.
I've been looking.
Yeah, but he.
Keith Stanfield.
Lucky. Yes.
So who play you, Michelle?
Regina. What's her name?
Regina Hall.
No.
Regina King.
Regina King.
Regina Hall can act too.
Yes.
Oh,
He
yeah.
do look like a family member.
Yeah.
Stanfield.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he looked just like my cousin.
Keep on talking. Yeah, you kind of look like my daddy.
Hey, hold on, player.
So now that's your cousin.
No, I'm saying though, he looked like.
Who play you, Debo?
Me?
Yeah.
Monique?
David Man.
Monique gonna play him.
No, not David
Man
Man.
is funny.
They got
David.
Just
And when I wear shorts in the summer,
David Man.
they said my knees look like his.
Oh, that routine when he directed choir. Oh man. Hallelujah, Jesus. David Man. But that brother can sing.
He can sing his butt off though. He was on Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, what was the song he did?
I'd rather have Jesus.
He and his wife both came from Kirk. They were part of the family.
Oh, you go back in the day.
Yeah, he could sing, dog.
Kurt had some big. He had some big choir members. They was all big. It was all big.
When
man.
you say big, in what way?
They were thick.
There it
Mass.
is. Though.
Yeah, they were thick. They were.
Debo trying to be funny.
No, I wasn't.
You
I
said that
wasn't.
when you say big, what do you mean? He ain't talking about big backs.
That's exactly what he was talking about.
David Mann that brother is funny.
Yeah,
man,
he funny as a fool.
man, and can sing.
And
so
he can sing his butt off.
But he as well as his wife have lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of these, that used to be the joke about gospel singers, how they were overweight, but those health issues. Who's the girl? The young lady, she came out, she just sang for Bishop Hines, Crystal.
Oh yeah.
Crystal Rucker.
Crystal Rucker.
And she talked about the number of strokes she had.
But this is the thing though, Pastor. The thing is, a lot of these artists, this guy turn around like you talking to me. I'm talking to you,
like
Pastor.
Somebody else in here?
A lot of these artists, when they'll come to town, do a show, and then back in the day, I know they used to have a mother of the church that used to cook all of the food for them. So you got fried chicken, you got potato salad, sweet potato, macaroni and cheese, and you eating this stuff 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
When John P. Key used to come here, he said, y'all need to find a place I'd go play basketball, because they used to play ball.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I'm going, but you also must have found Perkins.
Yeah, Doc. 5 times.
I know that was on your itinerary. It was like, and I didn't realize what was going on with him. He had a flesh-eating disease.
That was eating it from inside out.
He lost any weight though.
Yeah,
but he got, man, he was.
But why is, and I think all of us could maybe answer this question, but why is the correlation between food and church members, preachers? You always got to make sure the preacher eat and this, that, and the other. Why?
Because they don't drink or smoke anymore. Notice I put that in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
And so food becomes that thing.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, man, it's a drug. Plus, if you're performing, you're eating late.
Yeah.
If you're doing like evening, nighttime services, you're eating late. There's a whole lot. And then the travel, the whole thing. And look, a lot of these folks probably weren't into fitness, and it wasn't until they started getting these things like you're going to die that then people began to, because what Fred Hammond right now, he was having problems with his knees, and probably a lot of it was the weight.
Well, when he do his shows now,
he's on the stool.
He's on the stool, right. Him, and then a couple other cats. But I remember back in the day, when the big preachers used to come to town, they used to stay at Mom's crib. They used to stay over at the house with us, and they cook and eat late and all the
Oh
type of stuff. It
man,
was
you
just
get
crazy.
Dr. King, man. Whenever, as a matter of fact, when he was assassinated, he was on his way to dinner.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean that whole eating in the church, and for a lot of times, especially in the South, and a few years back, you might not be able to pay them a whole lot of money, but you sure could feed them.
But is that mainly in the black churches?
I think it depends. I think that's a social economic thing. So I would think that white Pentecostal churches would also be doing the same thing, because of money. But I know certainly in the black church, because you had itinerant preachers, they'd be moving from point A to point B, from point A to point B. And, they would get chickens, like live chickens, right? Because people couldn't pay them. But I'm glad that people are getting the health message. A few years back, they brought Fred Hammond here to deal with, it was something with diabetes or something. I was going like, dude, I don't know. You might, yeah, but that is like, and then the travel to grind, and food is, now there are other artists out there, it ain't even food, right? You only do it because it's public domain, but the struggles that Leandra Johnson is having right now, in terms of alcohol. So, you have guys. I mean, they're
She's
human
been
beings.
having some major problems with some of the like Marvin Winans and her have been going back and forth, haven't they?
Yeah,
Not lately though.
not lately.
No.
Yeah, she was just calling out the hypocrisy of people who. Okay, we'll do it one more time.
Basically, kick you when you're down.
No, that people behind the scenes are living very different lifestyles than what is being projected on the stage.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say this. I'm glad you actually went there. There's a lot of people that's struggling with issues, but they don't talk about it for whatever reason. But I'm going to use in my position. There's a lot of musicians that I know that's struggling with things, but can't come and talk to their pastor because their job is on the line. So instead of the pastor looking at them as a soul, they look at them as an employee. So I'm gonna use
an employee. Good employees, good corporations have employee assistance program.
yeah. So
so
yeah. So if I'm like struggling with say because the church, they want you to have a clean slate, right? So say for instance, if I'm struggling with women and if I'm having sex and dating and all this other stuff, and I'm having an issue, I can't go to my pastor. Well, I'm not saying me, but some musicians feel like they can't go to their pastor. Hold up.
Fix that one up.
Yeah. Some people feel like they can't go to their pastor and talk to them because if they do, then it's a stain on you, and then it's that we gonna have to let you go because you doing this and doing that, instead of walking with them through the problem. Now I know in the past years, and I'm gonna say this, I had an incident that happened that a pastor came up to me and asked me, well, are you sleeping with such? And I'm like, wait, hold on, man. That one, that's none of your business. Two,
ain't none of your business.
ain't none of your business.
But isn't that kind of a contradiction? That so at the same time, if brought to you and you kind of reject it, but then you won't feel comfortable going.
Well, not it was brought to me other than the fact of, well, if you are, then we gonna have to let you go. Instead of, well, if you are, we gonna have to work on yourself.
Yeah, well, look, as we said yesterday, there is, unfortunately, we recruit from the human race, and everybody brings their humanity to the picture. All right, we have on the line with us Elegant I'm gonna do this right. Elegance Bratton. He's the director of the documentary Move Your Body, The Birth of House Music. But before we get to that, man, I saw The Inspection. That's a great movie, man. And
thank you.
I was telling them that scene when you graduate, That's autobiographical. Let me ask that. Was that autobiographical?
It is inspired by my life and true events in my life, but I use the reality of the situation to kind of explore the emotional truth of what I felt. My mother kicked me out when I was 16 for being gay.
Right.
I spent 10 years homeless, and then I joined the Marine Corps, and I found out that I still had value, that there was protection and purpose in protecting the person to my left and my right. So yeah, it is based off a true story.
Yeah, and that scene at the end when you graduate, and Gabrielle Union, and it's like y'all had that moment, but she couldn't let go. She couldn't let go of that thing that had precipitated you being kicked out the house. If I ever see her, I'm gonna tell her that scene was so moving, man. That was moving, man. Just a great film. So when I saw that, I said, I know the name sound familiar. And then I'm going, man, that's a great movie. So anyone, folks out there listening, we're going to talk about this documentary, but man, you got to see The Inspection. You just got it. It's a powerful movie. Okay, so Move Your Body. The birth of house music. That's an interesting story, because I didn't realize that house music had come out of that infamous affair they had at Comiskey Park, where they come in and there's this anti-disco thing going on, and we talk about it a lot here because we talk a lot about music. We think that disco is really underappreciated, as a musical genre. But disco it was kind of underground too at the beginning, right?
For sure. I mean, the discotheque as a public institution, there's this concept called third spaces, right? So home would be the first space, work would be the second space, and then whatever you do after work would be the third space. And often, even in times like we're living right now, as the country becomes much more federally homophobic, transphobic, anti-Black, anti-woman, it creates a need for those people who are being segregated against to find community. And the disco, the idea of, the first discos came out of like the underground gay scene, right? It came out of, gay men looking for places to meet, to fall in love, just to be themselves. And music as that uniting force that caused that to happen. And the very first disco records that would inspire disco was often just sped up versions of Motown songs. Like a song like Heat Wave, for instance, is really, really instructive because the song is already up tempo, but imagine it, just a couple of beats faster. And then all of a sudden you kind of get the groundwork for what would become disco later. So disco's roots are absolutely in the underground. And that's why it makes sense that, house music, it's child and hip hop to a certain extent as well as other child came about.
Yeah. I went to college, out east, and I was in the DC area. So go-go was real big. Yeah, and then when I got back here, people was talking about house music. What is house music? So when we hear that term house music, what is house music?
House music is a 4/4 on the floor beat. House music is, just as Vince says in the movie so brilliantly, if disco music is orange juice, house music is Tang. It's the distilled 4/4 rhythm of what makes you dance in a disco song, repeated and expanded over and over again. But more than anything, house music is love, it's community, it's togetherness, no race, no class, no gender, just that beat.
What drew you to this project?
Well, a couple of things. Well, first off, I was in the midst of my run for the inspection. I was getting an award from New Fest, and Roger Ross Williams, one of the executive producers of the film, he was kind enough to give me that award. And over dinner, he mentioned that Hillary Clinton was a house head and that she had found the first person to make a house record and she wanted to make a movie about him. And I was like, okay, I get Roger Ross Williams, Black Oscar-winning director. I get Hillary Clinton, an icon. Yeah, I saw that. And I get to meet Vince Lawrence. And when I met Vince Lawrence, Disco Demolition, there's a lot of conversation about what it meant and what it doesn't mean. One thing that's clear to me is that in a segregated city like Chicago, Disco Demolition was a message from, the white majority for Black folks and women and gay people to stay in their place and to not attempt to transgress the social lines and barriers that are the bedrock of Chicago's, economic and cultural life and political life at that time. And they didn't know that when they tried to destroy black music, that Vince would be there, and that he was an usher saving money for a synthesizer that he would use to create first house song. So literally, when I met Vince, I was inspired. I was like, this needs to be a movie, because, you know, in this time where like Trump and all of these, you know, conservative right wing people are trying to push people back in the closet and bully people and bash people and make it illegal for certain folks to even use the bathroom, right? Vince is proof that if you hold on to your dreams and you hold on to your values in the face of great oppression, that you can change the world, because house music certainly has.
Just a little question on the background. So what was the period that you served in the Marines?
I was in the Marines from 2005 to 2010.
Okay, and so there have been, were they at that point, prior to that, it was Don't Ask, Don't Tell?
It was my time. It was when I left is when literally the year after I left, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was struck down. Thank God.
Okay. Yeah.
Now they're trying to ban trans people from serving.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I was just telling the producer that is one of the things. One of the interesting pieces about disco was, and I said, and then it kind of, and how it morphs in the house, is that at its height, you could go to a club, and as you described, everybody was out there dancing.
Yes.
It didn't really matter. You know, the iconic joint was, you know, Studio 54, where, you know, you would have just all these folks in. And then I thought it was very interesting. You talk about then there's this white lash, you know, in terms of people coming together. There's a great documentary ESPN did on that Comiskey Park riot, basically, and talked about what it was and where it was rooted in. And so I appreciate that. Is house music still big in Chicago, or has it expanded across the
house
country?
music is a soundtrack of Chicago. I mean, it's everywhere you go. You go to the pizza spot, there's house music. You go to the coffee shop, to the auto body shop. You know, house music is the soundtrack of Chicago. It's like going to like Mississippi, and that sound of Muscle Shoals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like the grunge movement in Seattle, you know. It's just jazz in New York. It's written into the DNA of the town. It's a house city, and they embrace the film. You know, Vince is the son of Chicago, so his his musical is profound and ongoing.
I guess this is kind of a rhetorical question. It sounds like you've always been a fan of house music.
Yeah, you know, my name is Elegance, so I grew up with a lot of pressure and attention to how masculine I was perceived, and having a name that kind of told people ahead of time that I was Black and gay created a pressure to kind of prove that I wasn't. So I grew up being really insecure and really uncomfortable in my own skin. And then one day I was watching TV, and ironically enough, Rachel Kane, who's, was on one of the first house songs, and was on Geraldo and with club kids from New York. And they were all talking about this club called the Limelight. And I was like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. So I literally went to the Limelight the next weekend. I must have been like 13 or 14. And I got in, and all of a sudden, everything that I was ridiculed for and bullied for and beat up for became a superpower. Being fabulous was powerful. And the soundtrack to all of that empowerment was house music. So I've always had an appreciation for house music's ability to free us all.
Quick question, and excuse my imprecise language in asking this question. So is Elegance your government name? Was it your given name?
Yes, it's like, I mean, I've got a lot more names, but yes, my mother, she claims when I was born, the doctor smacked me on the back, and instead of crying, I clutched my pearls and looked at her and gasped. And she thought it was the most elegant thing she'd ever seen, so she gave me Elegance.
Wow, that's kind of, it seems, wow, that's deep. That's real deep in terms of that. Wow, man, your journey, man, that and the stories, we don't talk enough about this, and certainly the impact a lot of times in terms, I'll use this term, homophobia, and the impact it has on descendants.
I'm on a phone. I'm on the phone.
Okay. It-
Sorry, I'm like walking on my building and this lady's talking to me.
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and so we appreciate you bringing us the Move Your Body, the Birth of House
Mhm.
is going to be screened as part of the Milwaukee Film Festival. Its screening dates are this Saturday, uh, April 26th at 6:15, and then the Sunday, April 27th at 1 p.m. Are you here for any of the talkbacks?
I wish I could be. I'm actually on set of my new fiction film called By Any Means, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen and Mark Wahlberg, about a moment when the FBI pairs a black agent with a mafia hitman by the name of Greg Scarpa to solve a clan killing in Mississippi, Hattiesburg, 1966. It's a thriller, crime thriller, lots of passion and action, and I'm really excited to make it, but unfortunately that means I can't be in Milwaukee. But y'all got to show up, move your body.
Oh yeah, move your body. We was just sitting up there thinking about it. It's funny you talking about coming from that Mississippi Delta area. Move Your Boogie Body by the Barcades, and when I heard that, I was just like that. They're close enough to Mississippi, to the Delta, that you're doing it, Mr. Elegance Bratton. Thank you. He is the director of Move Your Body, the Birth of House. That's going to be screened as part of Milwaukee Films Black Lens this coming Saturday, 6:15. And then this coming Sunday at 427. This coming Sunday, 427 at 1 p.m. there at the Oriental Theater. Thank you. Man, what an honor and just great opportunity to have this conversation with you.
I'm grateful to you, my friend. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Milwaukee.
All
and
right.
Don't forget, no matter how bad things feel, there's always a chance to dance with each other and make change. And if you move your body, things will get better.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, talk soon.
All right.
Thank you. Enjoy the film.
Yep. Yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah, wow.
That story is deep, man.
Man, wow.
And the fact his mom named him Elegance, all those things. And yeah, but like I said, that scene, you just go like, that's your child.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's something that Monique said about, she had a gay aunt, and how her grandmother always looked at her gay aunt as a sin. Her birth was a sin. That's a heavy thing to put on folks, man.
Yeah, that's almost like what Brian McKnight did to his kids, man.
Yeah. Well, but when you want to be your authentic self, it's hard to be your authentic self, and then the pressures on you, and wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Welcome back to Community Voice, and the phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We were just talking off air about the draft today, and I know that there are people who are doing shuttles from Milwaukee to Green Bay and then back. And I could not think of the city what's really across there from them, which is Appleton, where most of the when the NFL teams come into play in Wisconsin, they stay in Appleton and just take the bus over to Green Bay. So phone lines open. I heard Michelle yesterday talking about Shadir Sanders and how allegedly his stock is dropping.
Well,
I think they can create a Tom Brady.
yeah.
Where or they can create a Dan Marino. Not to say that Tom Brady and Dan Marino didn't have skills already, but how they done that draft that Dan Marino was in.
Yeah.
And if he's not the best quarterback in that draft, and the fact that he fell so low to Miami, so he was on a mission after that. Tom Brady, same thing.
I mean, even with Aaron Rodgers dropped in the draft when we drafted him.
Right.
And, he made a vow that he was going to make teams pay. I saw Shadir Sanders' interview, and after the interview, some of the people were saying that he was too confident. They were saying that
what you want in your quarterback?
I mean, yeah, do you want somebody? At least I do.
If I'm a leader,
yeah.
Should I exude confidence?
But they tried to say that by him patting when he get the ball and he pat the ball, that 2 seconds is what's going to hurt him. But it's not, though, because you know how many people do that?
Yeah, but I don't know. And again, I saw a little bit of his, what do they call him? College day when they come in.
Columbine?
No, he didn't. I don't think. Yeah,
he was
at the combine.
Yeah.
And you could tell, first of all, he has a great football mind. So that usually his issue at Colorado was they said he held the ball a long time, but Colorado didn't have a great line. I could imagine how good he would have been and what those numbers would have looked like had he played behind the line like at USC or played behind the line they had at Georgia, Alabama, LSU. So I don't know. And then, they said his deep arm strength, I don't know what that looks like.
Man, he was looking good when he just had the
but in the combines, he made the throws that you have to make. I think the other thing, he can read defenses.
Yeah.
His problem was he didn't have a line. But no, you can't pat the ball in the NFL.
But I don't know.
I think that was interesting because I heard them say that he doesn't get the ball out on time because the speed of the game, in college you can pat it because college the speed of the game is not the same as the pros. The only team to beat the Chicago Bears in 1985 was what team?
Oh, was it Denver? No, was it Denver? No,
Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins.
And why was Miami able to beat them? Because Dan Marino had quick release.
Now they were saying. Now I just saw this article. They was just saying that they compared him, with him patting the ball to other NFL quarterbacks that's been successful. They named off John Elway. They named
great arm.
Yeah,
powerful arm.
Yeah, but he would pat the ball.
Yeah, but his arm strength was such that, and he could get rid of the ball. Yeah. I don't know if Shadir has the same arm strength as John Elway.
I just think they don't like his dad, man.
Well, that could be all of that, but I'm just saying I watched Colorado last year.
Yeah,
I watched Colorado the year before.
Yeah,
and so there were things there when you watched them, and the crazy thing is he's getting all the attention, but the best player in the draft was on his team. That's Travis Hunter.
I think too that if he'd had a little bit more time because of his offensive line, it wasn't that good.
Right.
Compared
but that's
to
a habit he's going to have to. You watch next year. Watch any quarterback that's patting that ball when the ball should come out.
Yeah.
But because maybe defense If he passed that ball,
Yeah.
it's going to be
down,
broken
yeah.
up. It's going to be intercepted. He's going to get sacked.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta. That's what
Yeah.
they tell everybody. You got that timing because football is timing, man.
Timing, yeah.
And the speed of the defense now
Yeah.
is such that, man, if you don't get the ball out,
Doc, you dead.
you dead.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get the ball out, you still taking a lick.
You still dead.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a nice and sunshiny day today. Hey, I just was called in because I just left out the house watching Stephen A. Smith, and they say he done dropped down to 29.
Still first round.
Yeah, but when they predict him to go up in the first
21st.
top 5.
Nope, 21st. They
No.
said Pittsburgh that was looking at him. Pittsburgh is still looking at him, bringing him in and Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, well,
Yeah.
let me shut up. Hey, I'm gonna ask y'all a quick question since y'all talking about sports because I didn't even watch. I started watching the game a little bit, but then I made a mistake and went on Google and saw that they had lost, so I stopped watching the game. What's going on with our boys, man?
Okay. I'm gonna answer that one.
Hey, George, you got either your window down, man, but it's we're getting.
Yeah, I do, man. I'm sorry, I rolled it up. Sorry.
George sounded like he was riding on the horse or something, man. No, but listen, I just think, you know, just like when we won the championship that year that we was down 0-2 to a couple teams and we came back and won. I think those first games is those players getting their legs and up under them because the playoff is a different game than the regular season. It's much faster. I mean, I saw Kyle Kuzma come out the first 2 plays, and I almost put on a uniform and drove to Indiana and checked myself in.
Yeah, I saw you do those 2 layups.
Dude,
Like,
that
come
cat,
on, man.
I couldn't believe it, man. He was right
He's
there.
got
by
a
the rim.
ring.
Yeah.
He's
But
got
I
a
think-
ring, so he should know what playoff basketball is like. I
See,
know
but he
he's
hasn't
been there
played in a year.
while,
Yeah,
but-
he hasn't played there in a minute. So it's just that whole thing, man. I think he got out there, man, and he was scared, man. And we had bubble guts.
Let me
So
ask you all the
let
question.
me ask you and Chief a question real quick. Y'all think it was a mistake getting rid of Middleton for him?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the upside is just the youth and the athleticism that it's brought. I think teams have to get, and I don't know, this is hard for some people to accept. Sometimes they're just better teams than your team.
And you get out coached.
That's true.
You know, and everybody, oh man, I remember we were having a conversation last year, and I was talking to some of the guys that I played ball with my junior year. And I said at the beginning of the season that you all say, you know, we're going to win a state championship. The answer is no. And then one of my guys, Paul Ingeman, said, well, I'm going every game believing I can win. But there's a big difference when you go in the game knowing you're going to win.
Yeah.
And look, it was just so sometimes teams are just better. And the front office is making better choices. And I think that, so we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen, though. You know, do you fire Doc if they don't get out of the first round? I mean, I don't, you know, it's too soon. Now, there's a lot of people out there want to see Doc Rivers going. So,
But is it Doc's fault?
No,
the coach.
Well, sometimes I think Doc don't make the adjustments on time like he should. But here's what I want to say: Doc better start Bobby tonight. I know Keith. I know how Keith feel about Bobby, but he better start Bobby tonight.
No,
Or
he don't
that
play
young
Sunday.
boy
He play
Sam
Friday.
and let Brooke come off of the bench.
But you know what? And again, I never pull it up. It seems though this last game with game 2, Brooks, his plus minus was on the plus side.
It's on the plus side.
You know, so you know, it's not just Brooke. I think that there's some other things out there in terms of like defense, and then again being able to get back on defense because the only reason why Indiana's up 2 games is they still able to run on the Bucks. You got to stop Indiana from running. Let them run their half-court offense. They have too many open
But
shots.
you know what, Keith? And me and you got into a debate about this. And one thing I noticed about Indiana, pick them up soon as they inbound the ball. Put the pressure, slow them down soon as they inbound the ball. Slow them down.
Downhill, yeah.
Yeah, but when you turn the
Right.
ball over and now they're running,
Transitional.
you got to get back because look, how many transitional points did they give up?
It was like 16, 18.
Yeah, that you can't, you know, so to be able to get back on defense, and then you have some of the other guys out there who they get confused on defense.
Kyle Kuzma got confused on that 3-point shot.
And look, every time they put AJ Green in the game, guess who they run an ISO against?
Oh man,
They run an ISO
I don't
on, and he
understand
does pretty well.
I
And
don't understand
that's
why they
not
can't
fair,
guard
man.
that
That's
kicker.
not his game.
That's not fair, man, that they do AJ like that, because AJ don't get no calls, man. They be knocking that cat down, punching him in his eye, all type of stuff going on. You don't get no calls,
Hey,
man.
George, you always go after the kid in the wheelchair.
Right.
That's your message.
Man.
Yeah, I want the kid in the wheelchair. Come on, man.
Yeah, that ain't
Hey, I was asking right out because I kind of tuned in late. Who's playing you in the movie?
Michelle said Lakeith Stanfield.
No, that was me.
Who's that?
No, that was for me.
Oh, who's playing me in the movie?
Yeah, who's playing you in the movie? That's a good cook. I said Michael Cooper.
Forrest Whitaker.
Hanging with the Coopers.
Back in the day, of course, I would have said Denzel.
Oh, okay. I know who that is. Okay.
You said this.
All right, guys.
All right,
Thanks a
man.
lot.
All right, but I think the guy that I just think can act and could play me. Hold on, let me pull him up.
What about hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Call him over to the program. What's happening?
Well, Bucks, I think, are first of all making far too many unforced turnovers.
Yes.
That I think junior high school kids wouldn't make.
Well,
I mean, they're
they are
about for
playing
this
against
is when he's
other
catching the
pros.
ball in the
It's my
post,
boy D.
sometimes it's below his waist. Lazy passes,
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
They're not playing like a team who's hungry.
Yeah.
And Indiana, having their number, always plays faster than them because they're younger and more athletic, and they just seem to move the ball better than the Bucks.
But
It sticks with one player a lot with the Bucks.
But this is the thing that we went through the regular season and won the regular season 3 games to 1.
That's
And
the
that's
regular
why-
season.
That's
I
why
know, but
regular
the
season
same-
and playoffs are two different things.
I
animals,
know, I get
Yep.
it. But what I'm saying is the same defensive strategy you had during the regular season, you can plus 10 that. You know what I mean? Double that defensive
But when you
strategy
look at
for the playoffs.
last 30 games of the season, one of your key players was out,
Yeah.
and then another key player goes
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And so now
Yeah.
you got to come back, and now everybody got to get used to playing
Yeah,
with
got-
each other
yeah.
again. And I don't know if they have enough
and
time.
learning the roles that they were playing 30 games ago.
Let me say this to George: it would be Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright, okay.
I'd have Jeffrey Wright because he played Martin Luther King. I'm going, oh man, this dude.
Oh, that dude, yeah.
that
I
bro.
remember that.
Yeah.
What's the name of the dude who played Norman Whitfield in the Temptations movie?
That's a good question.
Wow.
He's a real good actor. He's been in a few movies.
Light-skinned brother, right?
He would play me.
This D-Lo?
And Jermaine knows me. He would play me. You think
This
so,
D?
Jermaine? Yeah, this is me.
What up with you, man?
How you been, bro?
Hey, brother, I can't complain, man.
Norman.
Now I want to ask y'all: when y'all talk about the they that have talked about Shadur in a way that drops his stock to where he will be in actually a wonderful position with a team that has a consistent coaching staff
Yeah.
and will probably have a veteran quarterback that he can learn behind.
Yeah.
We saw that help Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I believe that it is definitely to do with Dion and the confidence that his son would naturally have, even if he weren't playing football.
Yeah.
That is not disparaged if you're of a different complexion.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence, they thought was going to be the next Tom Brady, but Shadur has actually learned and practiced his whole life with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I think that little small thing of him patting the ball is what they're using to make the history of his career be similar to Aaron Rodgers, and maybe he'll have that kind of trajectory as a quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. Does he have the arm of Aaron Rodgers? I'm talking about arm strength now. Does he have the arm strength of John Elway?
Probably not yet.
Well, if you don't have
and that's what I'm saying. He's Dion's son, so I think he has the work ethic to develop that, but he has the brain of Tom Brady because he's been learning all the things that Aaron Rodgers didn't get a chance to learn because he never played on a team with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And those same people who dropped his stock are the reason why Charlie Ward wasn't a quarterback in the NFL and played basketball, and who wanted Lamar Jackson to be a punt returner.
Yeah.
So they talk bad about Lamar Jackson and Jesus.
The brothers are gonna play you as Mel Jackson.
Mel Jackson.
Mel Jackson. That's the brothers.
Mel went to Hyde Park High School in Chicago.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think now people say, well, that ain't that big of a deal. If he fixes it, it won't be.
But
I'm telling you, man, that all you doing, because anytime it's the same thing in basketball.
Yeah.
Like when you double clutch,
hesitate,
you know, you give the defense another chance to block the shot as opposed to taking it up. And that's why you see a whole lot of shots, double clutch shots getting blocked.
Yeah.
Because that's that extra beat that defensive player needs to have. And when you look at the speed of some of these corners,
they quick, man.
Man, they get up on you, man. So you be like, dude, once, because you know what they say, once you cross his face, that's when the pass has to come out.
Yeah.
And if you sit there,
and again, I think part of that was when he was in Colorado that first year, he was on the ground so much.
Right.
I think what they're mistaking as him patting, getting ready to pass, is him patting, getting ready to pull it down so he can drop down and protect the ball, because somebody's on your head in 1.5 seconds instead of you having the 2.5 to 3 seconds.
And that way he's like Aaron Rodgers.
So we'll see when he gets a decent line.
Aaron Rodgers would take the sack before he throw an interception.
But he can move. So he's really a better athlete.
But he was saying he didn't want to be known as a running quarterback.
Oh, he gonna have to.
Hey, dude, this is NFL now. that old standing back there in the pocket, you don't have that kind of line. You don't have that kind of time. You running for your life. That's why Lamar Jackson is so effective.
Yeah.
You know, because you think you can get up on him, and then you Mahomes, they get outside the pocket, you got a problem.
Yeah, he gonna mess around.
Now he is, to be Deion's son, he is slow to be Deion's son, and I think that's what they're judging him by. But what I noticed is he's pretty elusive once he does start, get a head of steam going. So I think there've been a lot of guys. Johnny Manziel comes to mind.
Oh my God!
That have not been nearly as talented as Shadur.
And they hyped that cat up, man.
That went really high.
And him and that other cat, Tim Tebow. I mean, they hyped the
Tim
cats up,
Tebow.
man.
There was no way.
So
he was
Mel Kiper Jr. and people like John Gruden, who doesn't deal with it anymore, those are the people who are saying he's not this and he's not that he's too confident, which, like I said, that's in the brother's DNA. He's
but I don't know why that's an issue when you're a black quarterback and it's celebrated when you're a white quarterback.
That part.
Yeah, you do, Keith.
I know, but
we're gonna give it to, as Reese Waters would say, we get an award to racism.
There you go. All right, man.
If y'all get a chance, check Reese Waters out. He's a comedian that does a great podcast talking about the current political situation in this country and this new regime. I think you'll find it very humorous.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, D.
God bless y'all.
All right. That was Mel Jackson.
All right, Mel.
All right, Mel. I didn't know that was your daddy's birthday. You listen to Community Voice. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
I'm going to say something crazy and something real.
And another thing.
And another thing. Welcome back to Community Voice, and we're joined in studio by Miss Lisa Stevens of Housing Resources. Good morning. This is your first time here with us, huh?
Yes, it is.
But you're not nervous or anything, eh?
Little bit.
Tell people what tell us about the
Thank you
organization.
for having me, though.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah,
Housing Resources.
Yeah, Housing Resources. So basically, we are a nonprofit HUD-approved counseling agency to assist first-time homebuyers with purchasing their homes in throughout southeastern Wisconsin. We are located on Burleigh in Milwaukee, and we have a Waukesha location, and then we also service Racine and Kenosha counties as well.
You know, I think sometimes when people think you buy a house, you just show up and buy a house. It's a little bit more involved than just showing up buying the house.
It's a lot more involved than just showing up. We have a whole process that people go through to be able to buy a house. So once you contact our agency, we start you fresh from the beginning, and we work with you all the way up until you close on your house. And then in addition to that, after you close on your house, we still work with you to keep you in the house and show you what the next steps is as far as being a homeowner.
And the first thing is obviously your credit.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that you have the requisite credit in order to purchase a house. Talk about that, and where people might have to do credit repair, things like that.
Yes. So basically, when you come through the program, one of our counselors will sit down with you, meet with you one-on-one, go over your credit and things like that. People feel, and sometimes I think they are scared to start the process because they're worried about their credit. And I just tell everybody, don't worry about that. Wherever you're at, we're going to work with you to fix it, to get you to where you need to be to get pre-approved. You don't have to have a 700 credit score to buy a house. FHA does go as low as 580. And then in addition to that, there's other programs that are out there through the different financial institutions to help you qualify for a house. And every situation is different on people's credit. We do counsel you to get up to at least a 640 FICO score. However, you still can buy a house with a lower credit score than that. So don't feel you don't have to wait till your credit is squeaky clean, basically.
And then I think the other thing, make sure you don't have any encumbrances out there, or liens or things like all that, in terms of putting yourself in a situation, right?
Yeah. So basically, credit is one. If you have liens or judgments, we usually, typically speaking, in the market, you will want to get that cured prior to buying a house. However, there are a couple of programs that even work with people that do have judgments against them. It depends on the amount of the judgment and the type of judgment.
Well, people say buy a house, and I know there's all the responsibility. Bought a house and I had a problem, and I said, man, I got to call the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized I was the landlord. But it's a different piece. But, just saying to people that sometimes people are paying $1,000 a month for rent.
That's cheap right now.
Yeah. Where, in certain mortgages, it could be less than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the other thing. Now you're also building equity.
Yes. So right now, typically what we do is we do ask people when they come to the program, what's the average rent right now? Depending on the area, but the average rent, believe it or not, is about $1,500 to $1,600 for most folks. If you buy a house, your mortgage typically is less than that. It depends on where you buy and the amount of house you're buying, but you're paying that to a landlord, where you could be paying that to yourself, investing in your own property versus investing in someone else's property. So it's beneficial to buy versus than renting, always.
What are some of the things you talked about, the FHA? What are some of the other assistance that's available?
So FHA is a type of loan. It's a government-backed loan. There's conventional financing as well. That can help people. There's VA loans that can help people. And certain banks have their own products that they offer as well to first-time homebuyers to help get you into that house. In addition, so those are just the type of loans, but we have grant assistance as well to help people towards their down payment and their closing costs.
What about for some folks, depending on the amount of the down payment,
Mhm.
they might have to take out what is it, down payment insurance? The not insurance, but mortgage insurance.
Yeah, so depending on which product you pick. So basically once you pick out the lender you want to work with, whatever bank or credit union or mortgage broker, they'll go over the different loan products with you. Some products do require you to pay mortgage insurance. However, there are a lot of banks that are offering products where there's no mortgage insurance attached to it. So if that's something that somebody's interested in, then we will put them with somebody that does not offer PMI or mortgage insurance. PMI stands for private mortgage insurance.
What would be what is the ongoing for good credit? What would be interest rate?
Yeah, so right now, so interest rates, they fluctuate, but right now that average is about a 6.125 for some banks, depending on the product you choose. Other banks could be a little higher, no more than 7% we're seeing. The lowest we're seeing is about 6% right now. So somewhere in between that.
You all have some events coming up in terms
Yes,
of community?
so we do have our annual home ownership fair that is June 7th at Greater New Birth Church. It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Basically, we're going to have all the lenders there, home inspectors, realtors. We're going to also have it's kid-friendly event, so please feel free to bring your family. We will have snacks, food, prizes that you can win, and you can attend a educational homebuyer educational class with one of our lender partners that is going to be there. So it's going to be a great event opportunity to get to know the process and get to know different products that are going to be available to the community.
Do you all do regular like home ownership seminars or workshops?
Yes, so we offer homebuyer education class. They are going to be moving to in person starting in May. They are virtual right now, but you can call our office to basically get into class. You can pick whatever class you want to go with, but the number to our office is 414-461-6330. Call to register, or you can go online to our website, which is hri-wi.org, and basically just register for the class, and that will be your first step to home ownership.
Wow, you did pretty well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So again, if people want to take advantage of the Housing Resources Program, a number and the website again?
It is 414-461-6330. That is our main office number. And then our website is hri-wi.org. So feel free to go online or give us a call and register for the program.
How long has this organization been in existence?
So for the Milwaukee location opened up in 91, and then the Racine and Kenosha location opened up in 2000.
So a lot of people have come through the program.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we service a lot of people.
Miss Lisa Stevens, again, and as I think this must be LaWanda coming in at this point. I just heard the buzzer. Let's see if that's the case. See if we can.
Okay.
Hey, Jermaine, you want to see if that's LaWanda? And thank you, man. I know you just sat down.
No problem.
Yeah. How long have you been with Housing Resources?
I've been with Housing Resources for 6 years. I started April of 2019.
Oh, okay. So you're pre-COVID.
Yes, pre-COVID.
Different challenges during COVID, or?
Yeah, well, we were able to, during COVID, everything was shut down. So there was no in-person classes. So we were able to adapt and to adjust to that climate. We just turned everything virtual, which was a blessing in disguise because we were able to reach greater masses by doing that, because now we can offer virtual, we can do your appointment over the phone, you can do in person. So you have the flexibility to choose whatever works best for you. Whatever.
That was amazing because houses were still being sold.
It was.
Yeah, you would have thought it would, but people.
Yes.
And then I think people were able to do things virtually where they could go in and create. And I think where you saw a lot of times where people do the visual kind of virtual. I'm sorry, virtual tours of the house. So
yes.
Hey, Wanda.
Hey, how are you guys doing this
Miss
morning?
Lawanda Chambers. We're doing very well. And what's your role there? I didn't ask Lisa. What's your role there?
So I am the home ownership manager.
Okay.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Lawanda Chambers, and I am the Vice President of Housing Resources Board. Been there for about 7 years. It'll be 8 in October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going through all the things, some of the things that people can expect if they become part of the program. Talk about the importance of a program like this.
A program like this is life-changing. And I can say that because I actually went through this program before I became a board member. And what I can tell you is my experience is what locked me into HRI and wanting me to serve. What it allowed me to do is provide some stability for my family. Being a young matriarch of a family, a responsibility that most of us in the community, we don't want to be at a young age, but it was my calling. That was with my cards, taking care of my family with disabilities and just understanding that I'm a young woman and I need to also have a future. HRI was a foundational piece in that, and I am like forever indebted to them because it has allowed us to have a place to call home. And for our key holders, seeing them have those keys in their hands and understanding what they are unlocking, it seems so simple, just a home, just a structure, but it's a foundation that is going to be yours, and that's your legacy. And that's that opportunity to pass that on down to other family members, right? That's what they're getting. They're getting an opportunity to have stability and an asset that is going to be passed down for generations to come if it is managed correctly, which we prepare them to be able to do as well.
And it's one of those assets that appreciates. And I was listening to you tell your story, and it reminded me so much of my mom. She just wanted her own house, and what she did to put herself in the position. And we were little guys, and man, we were really happy because we've been living in flats, and now we actually have our own stairs that we can run up and down. Well, that got old real quick, but it's just like, because we first got there, Jermaine, we was up and down the stairs. We were like the Cleavers. We got stairs, that's in the house and not stairs that's just going up to the flats. So, but that was always, and every time my mom bought a house, it just got better and better and better. And so, and then talk about then an asset that you can leave, legacy. A lot of people, they miss that piece on it.
Mm-hmm. And you felt safe and secure more being in a home that your mother owned, right?
Oh yeah.
Versus in renting.
Yeah, and look, it wasn't the Taj Mahal, I mean, it was, but it was our first one. And like I said, we were there up until I got to college. She bought another house, then she bought another house, and but it was always this idea, and part of it from my mom and maybe folks from her generation and where she was, they came from landowners. In the South, they had land, so they understood the power of property. And we're up against now where people, their whole existence has been renting. They're the third generation of renters. And that possibility that I could own a home is not even there for them. And I think you all provide that where, not only is it a possibility, you can really make it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's our calling.
And I love that you brought that up, that we in our community don't sometimes see ourselves in a homeowner role. I hear from a lot of people, it's the responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
And then I counter that and I say, well, how many headaches were your responsibility when your needs were not met in your property? I was paying over $1,500 a month for rent for a duplex to house my family because that's why we do this. And everything under the sun was going on, the leaks, the mold, the calls to the county, the calls to neighborhood housing. How much did that cost you is my question, because I know how much it cost me. And I also know how it affected my mental health, not having the stability and knowing that I'm paying for this. And I'm also learning that education piece was so important because I understood equity after going into that class and learning. You know what did it for me was taking that $1,500 a month and putting that in my calculator for 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I multiplied that 12 months by the 3-4 years that I had been in that dwelling. And I felt like an idiot. I felt such ignorance in myself. And I said, I can either dwell in it or I can get up and do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that program, I'm telling you.
Let me, in terms of outreach, this is obviously great outreach,
Mm-hmm.
but are you doing things where you're working with churches and other groups to let them know that this possibility exists?
Yeah, so basically we do a lot of outreach throughout the community. So we partner with different banks, we partner with realtors. We are doing this fair, like I said, our annual fair at Greater New Birth Church. In addition to that, we do radio advertisement. We're on social media. We try to reach everybody as much as possible, but the biggest outreach that we do is word of mouth. A lot of our clients we get is because their aunt came to the program, their mother, their cousin, their friend. Once somebody closes on the house, and if we post that picture on social media, all the comments, people want to know, how did you do it? How did you get into a house? What was your story? So then they refer them back to us, and then we go and we help them as well. So that word of mouth is always, I think, going to be our biggest platform. But this does help as well, because we are reaching a lot of people this way.
It was interesting that it seemed that the tone I was hearing was more feminine, because, but it's I work with fathers, and one of the issues, certainly around child support, is that could be a barrier if not addressed, right? Because it's a lien, it's a judgment, and to get that, and then this whole idea, I talk a lot about legacy. What are you leaving for your kids? We're thinking so right now, but man, people, wow, I didn't realize that, I could have this and I could leave it for my kids,
Yeah, I'm glad you did mention that. That is a barrier that we do see a lot. And a lot of people don't even know sometimes they have a lien or judgment because it doesn't show always on the credit report. So what we counsel people to do is, as we're working on your credit, we tell people to CCAP themselves, or even if you call a title company, they can advise you if you have a lien or judgment against you, because that will stop you at being able to close on your house. A lot of people aren't aware of that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Someone did the math. There was $54,000 in 3 years. They just did the math.
God.
Yeah, that's a house.
Exactly.
That's a house.
And that's what I was thinking when I was making the decision, because it is a sacrifice. And they teach you that, you might not want to buy a car right now. You might not want to do that.
Thank you for bringing that up. Cars. I want to say this. Please, please, please. I know cars is something people dream about and want. Get the house first, then get the car. So many people come through the program, and if as they see their credit is getting better, they go buy a car. That can stop you a lot of times from being able to get into your home. So hold off on buying the Mercedes, the BMWs, Cadillacs, whatever. Get your house first, then get the car, because that eats into your affordability.
And that's funny. And we were, my wife and I were pretty well situated, but that's what the guy told us. He said, because you had that, I think after your closing, isn't it like that 30-day period where, there's nothing being reported to the credit bureau, right? And so, you go out and get, oh man, I can go get a car. Yeah, but you got this mortgage, insurance, and there's something else, home maintenance.
Yes.
It doesn't take care of itself. There's all those things that now, like I said, I was looking for the landlord and now I'm the landlord. So, being able to do that. I think the other thing is when we look at a car, it's really short term. It's an appreciating asset. But I think for us as descendants of enslaved Africans, we have to start looking beyond the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're living so much in this moment that we don't think, man, there's going to be a tomorrow. But just doing the math on that, and just imagine, had you been in there
10 years.
You see what I'm saying?
10 years.
And now let's talk about it, because I redeemed myself So at this point in time, we have equity in our home where now we can buy a new home and we can build legacy around that. I say maybe 160K in equity over that time, 7 years. Imagine what that will look like
Right.
in 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah, the city housing assessments are coming out now, so we'll see.
Oh, and them
Because they
taxes
just
going up.
taxes going up, but then they said that I think they're looking at an average about 15% increase in home value.
Right. And
Yeah.
let's couple that with We Energies and the spike, those other spikes that come with
Yeah.
the cost of doing business, because we'll have other costs incurred. And so something you brought up earlier was that home maintenance. You become the landlord. I encourage people to get home, not just home insurance, but appliance insurance, furnace insurance. They have policies that you can purchase when you purchase your home, so that you are locked into a maintenance plan on the pipes, the electricity, and all of the things in your home. And it sounds like another bill, but you're going to appreciate having that insurance when your furnace or your water heater goes out. Those are huge
Or
costs.
things like, one of the biggest issues, obviously, is the furnace, but that roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
roof, man. And it got to the point that we had shingles in everybody's yard on the block.
They just
Oh my
flying.
God.
So the
Yeah.
insurance company came and said, if you don't fix this, we're going to cancel your insurance. So we ended up fixing it. But it's things like that. But when you think like long term, I
Right.
mean, the benefits of it is just long term. And I was just thinking, we bought our house about 28 years ago, and it's more than doubled in value in terms of what we purchased it for and what it would go for today. And it's still a pretty hot housing market.
Yes. Yes.
So
Prices are going up. We're not seeing them go down.
we're going to have some supply chain issues. So that's going to,
Interest
Yeah.
rates are going up.
Yeah. So buy now. Don't wait. A lot of people are like, I'll just wait. Maybe it'll go down. They're not going down.
Yeah.
They're not.
And let's just keep it real, because we have this administration that we're dealing with right now, and financial analysts are talking about
a recession.
a recession. And so I don't know that I would want to be a renter in a recession, hearing that, because we really want to understand how to be safe in a time like that, where you are going to have a landlord who's going to want their money now and they're going to put you out. And so we'll have some other issues in our community, such as homelessness, and crime will go up. And let's not forget to mention mental health, because that's always the spinning wheel. So we want to think about, again, the long term and not being in survival mode all the time.
Housing Resources Inc., right? Did I get it right?
Yes.
All right. Miss Lisa Stevens, Miss LaWanda Chambers. LaWanda, good seeing you again, dear.
Yes, thank you. Likewise.
And nice meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, nice
I know you'll be back, so appreciate it. Again, if people want more information on the program, they can go to.
They can go to our website, hri-wi.org, or give our office a call, 414-461-6330.
Thank you, Miss Lisa Stevens, Miss LaWanda Chambers, Housing Resources, Inc. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
FM with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice. We have a few minutes left. And again, the phone line's open 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. One of the great things about this job is just diversity of interesting people that get to have conversations with, man. And it makes it fun.
Oh yeah, it most definitely makes
it fun, man.
Yeah,
that you
true.
Get out and you meet people, you talk to people, you expand. I did get some feedback from yesterday's Faith, Justice, and Politics, and so let me thank Bishop Walter Harvey for coming in. It's to get a chance to have these conversations. It's great for me. I can't, speak. And here's the great thing that I've just I picked up on all of the folks who've come in and been a part of it, is that sometimes, and I'm going to use this big word, theology can be, it seems so above and complicated, but to a person, each one of these folks have done it in such a way that people can grab it. And I think the other thing is to make us think. And anytime you can make us think, I'm down with that. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, man. Where you been?
This is Rick calling you long distance from Germany, man.
I heard you on Al Sharpton yesterday.
Yeah, Civil War is coming to America.
Oh, don't say that, man.
Pete Hegseth is talking in the open because he does not care. He does not care about national security. He does not believe he is risking national security because those white boys in the racist element in America are preparing for war at home.
I just heard this little tidbit on Pete Hegseth. There was a document that needed to be signed. He has no chief of staff. He was nowhere to be found, and that document was on his desk. I don't want to get all frustrated, but I'm frustrated that we can deal with this level of incompetency. It's like Trump is discovering. Yeah, you can wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna do tariffs, as if people are not going to retaliate. They ain't scared of you, man. China is not scared of the United States. I don't know if he's figured that out yet. And then there's a conversation he has to have with three of the biggest retailers to say, dude, you can already have empty shelves. They're saying in some cases in 2 weeks. He's already disrupted the supply chain. So this cadre of idiots that is currently in the administration, as you said, is very dangerous, and we should be a little concerned.
Thank you for the time, brother.
I appreciate you, bro. And we were just talking about that when we were talking about Shadir Sanders, where someone, let's take away all the other ancillary stuff that people are attaching to him and just talk about him as a quarterback and look at some of the quarterbacks that went in the first round, sometimes in the top 5 pick. You know, I remember Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, trash.
It's amazing to me, and people won't even say, well, it's racist. It's not racist. We're just trying to do a accurate assessment. Now, look again. Now, me and Jermaine, we acknowledge that he got a little hiccup in the throat. Mm-hmm. Okay, that can be fixed. Mm-hmm. That can be fixed. And I think once he gets hit by a 298-pound NFL defensive lineman going full speed, he gonna know, get the ball out.
Yeah.
You just can't pat. And then, part of that is your receiver. So I don't think he had to pat the ball with Travis Hunter. And the other kid, they really had, I think they got a couple of kids in Colorado that's gonna obviously to Travis Hunter. Do you think that Shiloh is gonna get drafted?
I think he's gonna get drafted, but he probably go like 3rd, 4th round.
I see him as a coach.
But he was good on defense.
But he missed a lot of tackles because.
See, but that can be taught though.
Well, yeah, but see, his whole thing was he wanted to show that he was a safety, so he wanted to pop people. Well, some of these guys you can pop them, but you got to wrap them up.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, that's the issue though with the Packers, and Packers defense is
you got to wrap them up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand sometimes these dudes make a business decision. If you going after Henry, you know, you go low, like as low as you can go, because if you take him head on,
it's over.
Yeah, you IR at the minimum. Not to mention career ended.
Right.
You know, that I had never heard that until the NFL. They said, oh man, dude just made a business decision. He went down.
Yeah.
You know, because now when it really matters, what was the play? Wasn't it New Orleans and Minnesota in the playoffs where the dude went to make the tackle and literally just whiffed? Wasn't even close. The dude kind of stepped over him. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Minnesota.
Oh, you're talking about when he jumped over him?
Yeah, but he jumped over because the dude whiffed.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
I think that was Minnesota and
New Orleans, and that was a playoff game.
That was a playoff game, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta wrap. But I think Shiloh wants to show that he can hit hard. That's great. But you know, what is Henry's first name?
Derek.
You don't hit him hard.
Oh no.
We'll never see another Jack
Lewis.
Tatum, Earl Campbell hit. Both those good dudes never really recovered from those hits.
Yeah.
That was like, dude, talk about physics.
Yeah.
When the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, that was a physics lesson, man. Both of them went down.
Yeah.
You know, but no, you don't. And I understand now because they don't tackle as much in practice because of injuries and other things. But man, the Packers, you're right, man. That poor tackling,
man, that's what cost
it makes a difference, man. And look, we talk about pros, so it's easy for me and Jermaine and Debo sit here in the comfort of the studio to say wrap them up.
Yeah.
But when you got a 250-pound solid man running your way,
and you moving fast as well,
right? And you only $190. The numbers kind of line up for Derrick Henry.
It's gonna be funeral services for you. So Michelle gonna come pull out that cooling board. You out of there, buddy. Nate, we got one.
Brother Frazier, let's remember the family of Keith Parris.
Number 45.
Number 45. Who I don't know if you were here for that interview I did with my high school coaches.
No.
He asked me why I chose number 44.
Oh, you used to wear number 44?
I wore 44.
Really?
Yeah, and he said, Donnie Anderson? I said, I used to love to see Donnie Anderson run, but no, I never thought about it was Donnie Anderson. It was David Thompson.
The point guard?
David Skywalker.
Yeah.
That
no, he was nice.
Dude.
David was nice.
But I'm going to tell you, cocaine.
Yeah, it will mess you up.
Okay. Again, I talked to Freddie Carter, was coaching at the Mount. And so we're just talking. And I was telling him how big of a fan I was of David Thompson. He said, Keith, drugs destroyed that career. He said, he was such a phenomenal talent. And but that was the 80s. There was a whole lot of careers that got wrecked because of cocaine.
Yeah, who was that guy that played college ball? He played for the Houston. He played for University of Houston. He was there for the championship game both times. He was point guard, but it was him, Clyde Drexler,
Elijah Wan.
There was a couple other cats, but he kind of went AWOL on the team.
That wasn't to do with the curl.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
He went AWOL on the team, so they was trying to find him and get him back.
Because when he was like a freshman, he was like
it was like the best guy
that
coming
wasn't
out.
Benny Anders, wasn't it?
Benny, that's him.
Yeah,
Benny.
Yeah,
Benny
that's right.
The
they couldn't find him.
Yeah, they couldn't find
Benny
him.
Anders. That was
and they said Benny. It was one of the top guards, man.
He was.
Like he would have went high in the draft.
He was. Well, but someone pointed out to me that being pro is more than your talent. If you're just a superior talent, they're gonna put up with a whole lot of stuff. that normally they wouldn't put up if it's Keith, right?
Yeah.
But it's the guys who they get to practice on time.
Yeah.
They don't miss team meetings,
Yeah.
right? It's all those things that you do. And you have other dudes out there, man, who I'm so good.
Like practice.
Who was the Packer that wasn't showing up? The receiver.
Oh, Dobbs.
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs. And then he got a concussion and couldn't play. But then Brandon Jacobs was like, man, we need a number one receiver, which is true. I think all of them other guys are number twos, but they don't have that bona fide number one, man. They need that. They need that dog. Yeah, man.
You need that stud, man.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, it looks like it's a strong draft class for receivers. I don't
in defense. I hate it, man.
That defense is getting better, though, man. That defense is definitely getting better.
Yeah, but we need some offensive.
Quay
power.
Walker.
Quay's good at the linebacker position.
Yeah, I mean that defense is okay, but at some point you got to be able to score some points.
Yeah.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, Keith Parris, how you doing?
I'm good. What's happening?
Hey man, I just heard y'all talking about Benny Andrews, man.
Yeah.
That's my brother-in-law, man.
Is that
Really?
right?
Big? Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's right, man. That's my brother-in-law. Well, his problem ended up being what happened to him, and you guys are right. He was on both teams. Matter of fact, he was on the 81 team, too, 82, 83.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Drexler and all those guys left. He stayed with Elijah for that last run.
Yeah.
And then that summer, he got caught with a little situation. Him and Guy Lewis got into it. And then that was the end of that. He went overseas for a little bit. He's from a small town called Bernice, Louisiana.
Right.
Willis Reed was his cousin.
Right.
So he come from a long line of history. He played against Karl Malone in high school down there in Louisiana. But it was just one of those things, as you guys say, if you're not one of the top-notch guys, you kind of get pushed away a little bit if you do something out of pocket. And unfortunately, it happened to him, and he never really recovered.
Yeah. Oh, he was a man. Benny Andrews, that dude was he was a beast, man.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
Man,
yes, he was.
And like I said, a lot of times people say it's talent. You know, that you have some of the greatest talent in the world walking these streets, right?
Exactly.
Because it was things that you go like, dude was a can't miss, but and it's not always drugs. It could be other things that happen.
Correct.
But it can line up in such a way where, man, dude, just you had that opportunity. And for American basketball players, you know, they're more apt to go overseas to get a ball player because that person's already played pro ball.
Yeah, at the age of 15.
Right.
The experience.
Right, the experience that they have. And so you look at some of these foreign players, and they're dominant, right?
That's right. That's right.
Because what is it? Is Doncic, he's just like...
He's from over. I forget where it is, though.
But he's like, what, 24, 25?
26. Just turned 26.
Yeah, I mean, dude is young.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dominating.
He plays so much basketball.
Right. And I think that's all. That helped Kobe. Because Kobe played against a lot of those club players when he was in Italy.
Exactly. And that's what I
that's Roger and Dwayne.
Like, wow. So I just wanted to call.
All right.
Oh, then Keith, sometimes you come over to Antioch and do the preaching, man. I love your preaching, too.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. I just spoke with Pastor yesterday.
Did you?
Yes, sir.
All right,
man. Appreciate you.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Wow, it's a small world, man.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. You just never know who's listening to it.
Man.
That just tripped me. Wow, just seeing them, man. Look how them. Wow, Roger and Dwayne, man.
How about all of us who used to have bushes in the day and now we just slick ball?
That's crazy.
Because Dwayne had, man, he had a nice fro, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Look at Raj. He was in he was in Malcolm X.
Raj?
Yeah, he was in Malcolm X.
Oh, yeah, as one of his bodyguards.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Yeah. All right, let me think. Man, I'm going to kill their names. Miss Lisa Stevens, right?
Yep, Lisa.
And LaWanda. Hold on, man. I hate to do that, man. Short-term memory.
Maybe you gotta go out to the car and come back.
No, man. I really won't remember. Miss Lisa Stevens, Miss LaWanda Chambers, and let me thank Mr. Elegance. Bratton.
Yeah.
And again, that movie on House is going to be this weekend at the Oriental. Get a chance, Milwaukee Film. Get a chance, go and check it out. Debo, thank you. Jermaine, thank you. The good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.
Let all dissension cease.